Welcome to this lesson on addiction. So this is our first lesson in the unit, and I've added these hyperlinks. So if you've got the PowerPoint slides, and I figured it might just make it easier if when you come into a lesson, you can jump to that rather than scrolling through 100 slides. There are lots of slides in my presentations. I'd rather give them to you and you delete them than have to make them for yourself. So I do err on the side of having too many. This first lesson in this unit is introducing addiction, what is it, and the opioid crisis. There's so much to explore here. I find it fascinating. I hope you do too. I hope your students do as well. More importantly, I hope they find it helpful and relevant. So we're going to look at what is addiction, what's the opioid crisis, and why are opioids highly addictive. We do key terms, traffic lights, a crossword puzzle as normal. You can go over the topics that will be covered if you like. Again, another example of the slides that are there if you want them. All right, opioids. What do they know already? Tap into their prior knowledge. And there's just a little bit of an introduction to the opioid crisis. This is a short little video, introduces the idea. Now I know, if you're not in America, the opioid crisis might not be as a bigger thing for you, but I think it's still relevant for people to know about. And even in New Zealand, it's an issue, but I don't come across it all the time. Here's a placeholder slide. You can put your own country stats in, and then think, pair, share. What might these things mean? They have a go at trying to write it in their workbooks, and then we talk and chalk and talk the definitions. And just a note, the IRB switched the goalpost. So in the textbook chapter, talks a lot about drug use and drug abuse. That was the original terminology. They've changed it to substance use and abuse. That's why that's more common in the substance use and abuse is more common in the slides and the workbook. Okay, chalk talk, what is addiction? And then understanding the addiction cycle. And this is really key, I think. If they can understand the three parts of the addiction cycle, how it works, then it makes it that much easier when they're trying to give explanations of why substance abuse might occur, why addiction might occur. There's a real story here, trying to find a case study where they can watch and then try to see if they can figure out, well, what do they think the addiction cycle will look like? Okay, here's a tip if they found that kind of hard. Okay, we break it down into these three steps. All right, you take the drug, you get high, then you have these horrible withdrawals, and then you feel really low, and so you start craving the drug again to want to get rid of those horrible withdrawal symptoms, and then so you take the drug again, and then you feel even worse, and this is the cycle. Okay, parts of the brain that are included. Right, and so that's what we're looking at, right? We can explain, why the factors we're looking at in this unit might link to this cycle. Okay, why do you think people use and abuse? So more think, pair, share, and some ideas in their workbooks. Okay, chalk talk, why are they highly addictive, and answering that. So pretty straightforward. I mean, there's a lot here to go over, a couple of videos, but really the idea here is that they can know, okay, what is addiction, that addiction cycle, and what is an opioid, right, and the opioid crisis. Homework, 5 minutes on social media and addiction, and there's some mystery questions, 2 mystery questions in tomorrow's lesson. All right, nice, easy, soft start. Coming up next, we look at the dopamine hypothesis. Here we can see all the topics we're going to cover.